So we're gonna have to use a bit of our transfer stage to do our final circularization. Don't know why it does that. I need to check that stage. Okay, we should be relatively okay. We have 1100. It's a little tight for landing on Minmus. I'm very worried about this. Wait, we need 1200 for transfer to Minmus. No, we don't have enough for Minmus. I thought we had more Delta V in this thing than in this. That's okay, we'll just land this baby safely. Oh, and by the way, Beholder, if you're still around, this thing is... we're playing this with Kerbal's dying, so that's tricky. Yeah, I think Huthor, to get into that conversation, I think where I'd specifically draw the line, player source content, player created content, I think the problem is that there's... Nah, that's the wrong phrasing. The thing I dislike is that there are certain games that depend on players creating content, saying like, oh no, we're basically just a module for players to use to express their creativity and that kind of nonsense. Whereas I would think, no, you're a game creator. Make a game and I'll like to play it. Oh yeah, by the way, it works again. Perfect. We cannot control this unless we have RCS on. I like that. This is a stream of fails today. Okay, let's see how this baby deploys. I'll wanna change that. That shoots away a little bit too strongly for my tastes. Okay, let's fast forward. By the way, do you notice how that thing is still rotating? Stock Kerbal doesn't do that. That is the RCS required mod that does that, which I am very happy with. Now, as far as I know, it does, when I have the SAS and fast forward, it does hold that. And what I've read, the mod creator gives as justification the idea, well, you know, that's the pilot constantly making adjustments and keeping you on queue, on ball. I like this, the more spacey rotation they get. Well, who they're saying the adolescence metaphor is apt. A lot of trends right now are very much about limit testing. See the prevalence of the loot crate system. Oh yeah, that's popping up everywhere, isn't it? It's like a teenager smoking weed until it gets caught by his parents. In this analogy, the parents being the governing bodies and the law. Your issue with that is what constitutes a game. Minecraft is essentially what you've described. A set of system is rules for a sandbox. I don't think anyone's going to argue the quest for Ender Dragon is relevant design content. Minecraft is one of the most successful games out there. Well, I would argue against that. I would say that before the Ender Dragon stuff was released, I would say that it was one of the most successful simulations out there. When the Ender Dragon was entered into it, there was a specific end goal. And I think that's a specific difference that I'd point out. Like this right now, this Kerbal is a simulation. There isn't a fail state and there isn't a win state. There's not even an implied fail state. I'm thinking there is a career. We're playing career mode. There's limited money, so you could run out of money. But then again, you can always get advances to get money back. It makes it difficult, but you don't fail. There's no game over. There's no the end. The rules don't model that. So that's where I'd say it's a simulation and not a game. But then again, I approach the terms of game in a very philosophical sense. There's actually a scholar from here, from Groningen, Jan Huizinga, who was one of the very early game theorists. It's about 100 years ago, where he was talking about the interactions of playfulness, games, and humanity. Now go by some of the definitions that he brings, that a game has to be a specified separate reality from normal reality, as in everybody says we're now playing a game. Or that is usually implied. For instance, in either you say, hey, let's play tag, or everybody understands we're taking out playing cards and we're handing these out. This is a game. Now this game, another thing is that there always has to be a separate set of rules that apply only to the game. So for instance, indeed, we're playing solitaire. Well, one of the rules is that you're not allowed to look at the deck. And you have to pick up cards in a specific set order. Because if you don't, then you're not playing the game anymore. The game is essentially lost. There has to be a set of limitation to what you're doing and a goal and a focus. That is, I think, crucial to games being recognizable as games. Getting between debate has been raging between ludologists for decades, not necessarily arguing either way, playing devil advocate for sake of discussion. Oh, I think actually, philosophically speaking, that has never been that much of a debate there. So that's interesting because, of course, with the advent of computers and computer games and video games, of course, there's been a whole new group of people who have to deal with it because they're dealing with it not in the. That's weird. Why can I not recover those? Are those still in flight? Oh. Oh, they just haven't crashed yet. Okay. But yeah, that of course opens it up to a whole new thing, because Johan Huizinga, of course, well, there were no computers back when he wrote Homo Ludens. Is Bioshock a game? You don't lose progress when you die, so there's no real fail state? No, there's a clear fail state. When you die, the game stops, and you have to redo certain sections. So that is certainly a fail state. By the way, Darrow Brin on video games. That is pretty much exactly what I'm talking about right now. Okay, so this delta V is right. So this is... that has 1200 delta V. Yeah, so this is... we need to get to orbit without using that one, and we do indeed just miss what we need. How about we change this stage into the slightly more efficient swivels? Wait. Oh, right, that symmetry does help. Actually doesn't get us where we... oh, of course. It does this again because it freaks out when you use engines like that. Doesn't get us to where we need to go. Just gonna need that little bit more. Also, ideally, I'd like more thrust to weight. This is not going well. Now, so far, this I actually like. What we had, it started up very slowly, but it booted up to where we needed it to be. I wonder if we could solve this by adding extra boosters. How about, crazy idea, we add a separate set of boosters. And I started off saying I want, hi kitty. Oh, hi little cuddly buddy. Do we need to end the stream? Really, buddy? But I have 20 more minutes. Kitty demands an end to the stream. Kitty is displeased. So, here's what I want to try. What if I can put solid rocket boosters to the side? Definitely gets me the delta V that I need total. It is a completely ridiculous and massively inefficient rocket by now. And of course these things would destroy the winglets once they are released. But I could add these there, and we lose those first. Here's the thing. In order for these not to destroy those, we would need them to deploy with separatrons. Because that way... That is not my intention. There we go. That way we can blast those off when separating them. Hi, kitty. I know. Hi, buddy. I know, buddy. I know. Well, why on earth does that give us so much less delta V again? At 7, we should have 4090. What? Does this really make that much of a difference? What is going on? Just now, we had more than enough. Or am I crazy here? Okay, this does not work. That's clear. There we go. But you don't, though. In Bioshock, you don't lose any progress at all. By that logic, which is why is Minecraft not a game? If you work for Acecraft, set of Diamond gets destroyed, it's an unreset progress. Even KSP, if you make a big rocket, script launch, lose all the money, it's not a fail state. I would argue no. I mean, there is implied failure, but when you die in Bioshock, you do lose progress. You get set back to your last quick save. That's an explicit failure state. Minecraft, you can lose resources, but you can just get more resources. I mean, infinite, quote unquote, you know, because there is a finite amount to it, but there's not a practical finiteness to it. So I think that there is a significant difference between the examples you're citing here. There's a specific difference between progression. Progression is not the right word, because indeed in Kerbal I don't progress when I lose out like this. I think the thing is it has to do with that goal that I mentioned earlier. Bioshock has a deontic nature to it. Oh, not deontic. Deontological. I can't think of the word. What am I thinking of? Having direction. Oh my god, I can't think of the word for having a specific direction and end goal. That is so frustrating. Teleological, that's the word I'm trying to think of. There's a teleological nature to Bioshock. There's an ending which gets you a little bit of story, and in fact story again there is the crucial part for Bioshock. It reveals the last thing, like a book. When you read a book, there's an ending to the book. You want to progress through the book to get to that ending. And Bioshock at a point is, as though I get to page 40, I misunderstand a paragraph, and then the book says, no, go back to page 35, read that again. Kerbal doesn't have that. Kerbal doesn't have that directionality, for instance. If I decide now, you know what, I'm not going to go to Minimus. In fact, I'm just going to make a little car and drive around for Kerbin for the next 1,000 hours. That's it, that's okay. That's what I think what makes it a simulation rather than a game. Okay. By the time of stage 7? Yeah, by the time of stage 7, I need to be at 4080. I need 300 more Delta V. I swear it seems as though we've gotten less Delta... Ah! That's why we've lost out on Delta V. See, I was thinking, like, where have we lost out on Delta V? Why do we have less Delta V now? Okay, 3,940. So, that's where the change is. What if I can add... What if we go full on crazy? We add to this thing massive boosters. Oh. Why did that not... Oh, it's doing the weird thing again, where it picks the wrong radial. Particularly when you get these weird designs, that's what ends up happening. Okay, that gets us at stage 7, 4,700. This is what we needed to be. It is insane, but it should get us into space. There we go. Okay. Oh, hold on. Let's alt tab and see what Huther is saying there, because I wanna get in on this. Let's get to the lobby screen. In Bioshock, you revive at the nearest Vita chamber. All the enemies still dead, loot still looted. Oh, I thought you returned a little bit. The only real setback is the loss of ground cover. That's it. And it's the same is true of Minecraft. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Minecraft is a game because of the Ender stuff that they put in. That gets an end. Win or win later type of game. Hey, I like that idea. It's now become a call to use a snobbery phrase. There's a significant difference in examples you're citing in discussion with a random pleb. Nice. What are games that have a continuous world, such as Witcher 3? There is an end to the narrative, sure, but you can play the game indefinitely. I would say at that point, though, it opens it up to being a simulation. The game is over. You've reached the end. Technically, Minecraft story mode's a game. Isn't that the Telltale thing? 90% of games not challenging. Challenging games are stressful, not so entertaining for most players. I don't know. A game can still be a game even if it's not challenging. Just like a joke is still a joke even though it's not funny. Which is, by the way, very interesting. Somebody can tell you a joke and you can not laugh and not find it humorous at all, but still recognize that as a joke. I think it's the same with the game, actually. It's debate about the introduction of narrative to games, whether or not the two are intrinsically separate. Does the absence of one or other preclude classification as a game? I think, Huthor, what you're stuck on, though, is, and now I'm going to pull it a little bit into postmodernism, a narrow definition of narrative. If you think of narrative as there has to be a voiceover telling you a story, then that doesn't work, because then you think, I think you use it as a narrow term by saying that Mario would not have a narrative. Mario definitely has a narrative. Pong has a narrative in the postmodern sense, because it's still the story about two people who are playing ping pong with each other. Okay, hold up. I'm gonna need to focus on whether or not we're gonna kill these Kerbals here. Let's see. 1.04. I'd like that to be more, but alright. How about we just burn all of these at once? It gets us a real good thrust to weight. Gets us 4,600 at 7. That'd be good. Okay, let's give that a try. But yeah, that is more the philosophical sense of narrative. Is everything in essence is a narrative, because there's a human mind there that is observing it and making it into a structure. The problem, I think, comes in applying it to games is and that's what Vayner was trying to express, is the narrative created by the creators of the game or by the player. And the difference is you can use a simulation to make a narrative, but that again is you as a player making a game using the simulator. The game and the simulator are at that point two separate things. For instance, this is a perfect example actually. I'm making a mission to Minmus. It is not the game. Oh, this is going badly. These tanks are getting drained before the solid rocket boosters. Darn it, this argument I need to do after the launch. Well, on the upside, this thing is probably getting to space. Yeah, this thing is getting to space. This is now hideously over-engineered to get to space. Yeah, this is hideously over-engineered. Okay, let me read up on what you were saying, if that works out. No, I'm gonna need to establish orbit first. Let's make sure we raise our periapsis. Okay, I can, in the meantime, I don't think I can glance to the side because I need to control this thing very specifically, so I can't read up on the chat just yet. But yeah, my argument was going to be, in this case, the game that I'm making is a game of my own devising. I'm setting specific rules and I'm using the simulation to meet the criteria of my game. And that is, I think, the critique that Vayner had as well, in saying that is player-created content. Saying, oh yeah, you know, we just give you the tools and you're the one who's supposed to make the game. Whereas Vayner is saying, no, I want a game. I want something where the designer made an experience for me to go through, and that's what I want to play. Okay, I can glance a little bit. Your boosters, first stage almost broke up at the start. Yeah, no kidding. I thought the struts would have it, but apparently no. That's the thing, though. In example of Witcher 3, you're using the end of the narrative as the end of the game status, beginning of simulation status. Yeah, that would be my argument. Nothing changed in the game itself, just the absence of narrative. Yeah, because again, don't focus on the system being used. Focus more on the concept, the status of the thing itself, of the game essentially is over. It's like saying, oh, I know the perfect thing, Luther. I know the perfect thing. It's like having a deck of cards, and then you're playing solitaire. And then once you're done with solitaire, maybe a friend shows up and you go, hey, how about we play a game of poker? You're using the same cards, but that doesn't mean that solitaire now becomes two-player and has a completely different set of rules. Oh yeah, sure thing, Luther, and I really appreciate you getting the discussion going. Okay, let's... Yeah, you know, we do have 3 Kerbals depending on us, like... Houston, we have a problem. So, I was saying the narrative is crucial to... Houston, help? Okay, we can slow this down a little bit. We're pretty safe territory right now. There you go. You would need a narrative for it to be a game. Yeah, I think so. I think you do. Point me at a game that doesn't have a narrative. I can guarantee you every game has a narrative of sorts. And I want to emphasize here, I'm talking about the postmodern concept of narrative. So I'm not talking about narrative as in there has to be a storyteller, there has to be a story, you have to get some kind of continuity there. I'm talking about the... it's not even in a postmodern sense, in the sense of Johan Huiska and Homo Ludens, as in there has to be a specific defined world that you're entering in that case, even if it's the narrative of poker. You know, we are fighting, or chess, like we're fighting, you and me, but we're using cards to do it. We are opposing challenges, and if I, for example in chess, if I knock over your king, I win. If you knock over my king, you win. That already is the barest thread of a narrative. Yeah, exactly what Fub is saying. Yeah, and of course the argument I had as well. Yeah. Okay, we're just waiting a little bit until we reach our apoapsis or closer to it. This time we have 1,000 extra delta V. This is intensely over-engineered right now. It's a shame. I liked it that it was real suitable up until this point. And right now we've, you know, with the start, we've made it ridiculous with the extra boosters. Okay, we have established an orbit. Let's get to Minimus. Let's get this job done. Wait, what? Oh, no. That was wrong. Clicked a little bit too quickly. There we go. At this point... there we go. Need to shift this. Climb that plane to meet the... Why doesn't it show me that anymore? Oh, there it was. I just skipped it. There. That is it exactly. Right there, where I want to be.